SGC here, and we are back for a movie review.
看钱是吧？跳不跳？能不能跳？跳不跳？
Dying to Survive, or otherwise known as I'm Not the Medicine God, which is like the direct translation of the Chinese title. But anyways, this is a 2018 Chinese comedy drama film directed by Wen Muye in his feature film debut. And this film is based on the real life story of Lu Yong, a Chinese leukemia patient who smuggled cheap but unproven cancer medicine from India for 1,000 cancer sufferers in 2004. So picture Dallas Buyers Club, but instead of AIDS, it's cancer, and it sets place in China with a Chinese cast. And in terms of awards, this film, for the 55th Golden Horse Awards, won Best Leading Actor, Best New Director, Best Original Screenplay, and it also won other stuff at different film festivals, like at the 14th Changchun Film Festival. It won the Best Feature Film, Leading Actor, Screenplay, Supporting Actor. And Montreal World Film Festival, Best Screenplay, International Film Festival, 5th Silk Road International Film Festival, it won Best Feature Film, Hainan International Film Festival, Best Film. So, yeah, it has some awards chops backing it. And the cast, I don't know, and I'm going to butcher their names, so I'm not even going to bother, really. I'll try to talk about them, but I don't really remember their names, so I'm really sorry. But basically, we got our main lead as Chen Yong, who, is just a dude who's selling just medicine and all that stuff. And then the story goes where he's introduced to these cancer patients, and then there's a need, and he just does it, and it works, and he builds a business out of it. And the biggest difference between Dallas Buyers Club and this one is that there's an ensemble cast here. Much more comedy, and much more revisitable than Dallas Buyers Club. Dallas Buyers Club is, I swear, really dark and gloom and just sad. But here it's like hopeful and just but real. And I think that's the biggest thing with this film, is that reality hits and consequences matter. I watched that previous film, Sadder Than Blue, I think that's what's called, or Bluer Than Sad, or Sadder Than Sad, or whatever, that Taiwanese film that I recently just reviewed. And that one was advertised as it's a soft fest, it's gonna cry, tears. Didn't cry for that, but here, this Dying to Survive really hit me. I mean, granted, I am a son of a cancer patient, or used to be anyways, but so I connected with the whole like worrying about the livelihood and everything. But beyond that, I think even if you weren't connecting, and just to feel the realness of all these suffering victims of just, they can't afford the drug and they're literally dying because they're poor, and there's a cheaper alternative, but it's against the law and all that stuff. What, like, ethically, morally, legalistically, all these things are clashing, like who's doing the right thing or what have you. And I really liked how, like, foreigners, like the people in India were like, we're trying to help you, and then you got the foreigners who are the pharmaceutical companies, and they're like, we're just trying to make money because we can. And so everyone's sort of justified. And then you also have the cops. The biggest surprise for me was the cop, where there's a cop who's introduced in the beginning of the film, and he shows up near like the 3/4 way mark, and then his character actually is fleshed out, which is the strength of the screenplay and the director and the acting, where this ensemble is so fleshed out in terms of the character motivations and just their characters. It's just a fun time to watch, just to see them interact and how they're gonna beat the system. They don't do too much on the whole, like, how did they sell to the patients type of thing, but rather it's just, they did it, now what are the consequences, what's gonna happen now, and all that stuff. And what the biggest surprise for me is that this movie came from China, and for it to talk about this sensitive topic of just, you know, government support. I mean, granted, at the end they talk about how this real life situation made the government healthcare system cover this drug and under insurance and all that. So I mean, granted, that's great. at the same time, it's just like this lack of government support, and it doesn't make the government look good from the get-go, because it's like this drug was never covered with insurance. So there's that. So I'm glad that, you know, it blew up in China, and that it won awards, and now people are hearing it. I mean, horse awards are like, wow. You know, Oscars are Oscars, but horse awards, that's actual crazy international. So yeah, I really think it's evident that why it won the awards that it did, you know, best director, screenplay, and actor, is that because they all really delivered, and it's not an art housey type of like, oh, highbrow, I understand this type, but rather you really tell, like, our main lead, he goes through so much emotions. He plays a variety of just emotions of just him being like a stuck up, like, I don't care about you two, like, hey, I can make money, and then he becomes sort of like this proud guy, and then later on he becomes more concerning, more like caring, and so a lot of things, and it's not awkward. Like, the way that they wrote his character, it seems so organic, with all the little setups between his ensemble, the relationships that he has with the first guy that he meets that connects him with the whole scheme, and to the team that he makes. Like, he has connections with all of them, and it's just great. I love the pastor. The pastor, great. I love his English lines. Those are fun. Overall, I really enjoyed Dying to Survive. It is a great film, and it's definitely something you can go back to, because it's just hopeful at the end, and it's not just like dark and gloom, but it's still real. Like, there's the consequence of him breaking the law, and it's not just like, hey, you know, a vigilante type of like savior, like, yeah, I got to save the world. I mean, there was that vibe, but it's like, no, these are real life consequences. This is what's gonna happen to you if you do these things. But overall, I enjoyed it greatly, and it touched my heart, where it's just like, wow, you know, one person sacrificing so much for the many, and it's not one of those like proud, I can do this moment, rather like I see it, like these people really do need help, and it's touching. So it hits all the marks for a great film. We got ensemble, great lead, great writing, pacing is great. I mean, this movie is 2 hours long, but you never feel it. It's just like things are just happening, and granted, you know sort of what happens with these types of movies, where, like, you know, they break the law, something has to happen for the law to come at them, and you know that's leading up, but just like what happens and what he does, and he reacts. And granted, they didn't fully adapt the real life story. I don't think there's an ensemble as much, and the way he gets caught is different, and then it's less sad than the real life story, because in the real life story, he's actually a cancer patient himself, but in the film, he's not. So he's an outsider. So it sort of delivers a different perspective of him delivering the service. So, I mean, anyways, overall, I really enjoyed Dying to Survive. Definitely worth your watch. I mean, seriously, Oscars was just announced, but seriously, people, check out the Golden Horse Awards. Like, those films are definitely worth your while, and definitely, like, that 55th year now, it has been a proven track record of just, I don't know, I only caught up with it the last maybe 5-ish years, but seriously, check out the winners for those films. Definitely worth your time, and this Dying to Survive is definitely worth your time. It's just a hopeful film in this time and age where everything just feels lost and just like hopeless, but here you have people striving for sacrificing themselves for the greater good type of thing, and definitely worth your watch. I mean, it's great ensemble, great directing, pacing. What else do you want in a film? Anyways, this is it for this movie review of Dying to Survive. Out.